Hello. Hello, everyone. And it's a beautiful fall evening. And thank you, Angela. I love my scarf. A little birthday present from Angela Santiago. Gracias a ti. Fall, fall events of bundling up. And it's softness, right? It's softness. It's the experience of softness. And this morning, my partner and I were talking, and we were talking about hard things, or difficult things, or what do you do when something's difficult? And I thought, oh, what a really beautiful thing to talk about, because things are difficult. Every day things are difficult, and some days are more difficult than others. But usually we have some kind of surprises, some kind of experiences where we're like none too pleased, or or not particularly impressed with everything. And so I thought, oh, that's something uh, that is given a lot of power. So we can see people as difficult, we can see things as difficult, and how do we work with those things? How do we move through those things, or how do we work with the hardness? Like, I think things are difficult when there's like a hardness inside of us, or where maybe we're being difficult, or maybe there's a hardness in me, or I know that I'm difficult when there's a hardness in me, when I've kind of hardened myself against something, or against someone, or and I haven't softened enough. Like, I'm not opening, I'm not allowing, I'm not magnetizing, or really allowing myself to be found, or discovered, or recognized. And so all of the defenses come up, you know. So I would just wonder, like, what are my defenses? I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the softening and the opening of the heart, and like the French. There's a place in France where I went with my best friend. I think I was 25 or something, and she was 50, and we were going to France for her birthday, and it was an amazing experience in so many ways. But we did go to the Sacre-Cœur, and I remember just like, oh my gosh, this place is so, because I never imagined that I'd be going to France ever in my whole life. And so I thought it was pretty cool, and the experiences that I had there were amazing. And the Sacre-Cœur meant the Sacred Heart, and I had such an amazing experience there, and uh, it was really fantastic to be there. But when I think about all of the things that softened and opened me, I think one of the things that softened and opened me most was wonder and awe, and just the knowing that, how I'm experiencing this for the first time. And I don't know how anybody else experiences it. I mean, probably if you live there your whole life, probably every day you're like, oh, and there's everything that I see every day. Uh, but we went to the Louvre. We went to, um, of course, all of the most amazing, French and Parisian places, and drank wine, and fell asleep on trains, legally. I mean, we did have tickets, uh, and just had the most amazing experiences. And so when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about all of the things that like soften us and open us, open our hearts, and I'm thinking about that trip that I made to France with this beloved, precious friend Claudia, my friend Claudia, uh, who I'm who I'm still very close with and adore. So I think about that Sacred Heart, and I think about the opening of the heart, but I also think about, what are the things that really soften us, and that kind of chip away at our hardness, or allow us to face difficult things. And I think one of them is support. So, we all need support. It's good to have support, whether it's, a connection with nature, an animal like saffron is here. And so we can reach out and, there's, I mean, literally softness, like it just doesn't get any softer than that. Our cat, a blanket, what makes, we can think of things like this. We can actually bring something warm to mind or something soft to mind. And usually, where do I find things difficult or who do I find difficult? And you know, Carrie was saying this morning that, we can approach it with compassion instead of frustration. And I just love that. Carrie Rose, to quote Carrie Rose directly. So to approach it with compassion and, I don't think that's easy. I don't think that's easy. And I think that, one of the things that we're being asked to do right now is to find what's going to work for everyone and to kind of forget about ourselves for a minute. Like, how can we forget about ourselves for a minute? And on the other hand, remember ourselves and take care of ourselves so that we really can give that level of care from a place of strength instead of from a weakened state. But I was thinking about this, and there were two of my students who were graduating at the same time, and one of them had worked with me for a while, and I wrote this poem for them for their graduation. And this is from an older book, from God, Death, and Poetry, which I co-wrote with William Whitman, and it's called God, Death, and Poetry. And I think that in order to approach things with compassion, we have to be willing to let some things go, like maybe some opinions, maybe some, I love what my twin says, Raven Speaker says, he says, some of my long cherished opinions. So, can I let go of those long cherished opinions? And then go on, I wonder, to a new life. And so this is called New Life. And just to recognize that new life really lives inside of us. It's like that new life is available to us like every day and everywhere that we go and in every moment. Like we can choose a new life. We can choose to see things differently or to speak differently or to look at things differently. So sometimes my perspective is a problem, so how can we get over the problem of our perspective or of our opinion or and invite in other opinions and other perspectives and other views, and what are the other views that we can invite in, and what's happening now, what's actually happening now. Oh, I'm in my home. I'm I can see the photos of my beloved friends behind me. I mean, at least their hands behind me. I can see different things from my travels. I can see the beautiful land of the Salish Sea and the Duwamish people, and I can I can really be where I am now in contact with everything, and it's interesting to think about, how do we want to approach it? How do I want to approach things? And can I approach things in a way that is softening and that is opening? And what that does is that like allows the difficult things to open to some other things, and like to the unknown, to what is unknown to us, right? This is Rachel Carson, who asks, one way to open your eyes is to ask yourself, what if I had never seen this before? What if I knew I would never see it again? One way to open your eyes is to ask yourself, what if I had never seen this before? What if I knew I would never see it again? Rachel Carson. And so this poem is from God, Death, and Poetry, and this is one that I wrote for Shauna and Walter in celebration of going from one life into another. If you ask a question and hold it in your heart, the how will reveal itself. A white globe of shell will move from its underwater home and stretch out, will enter the world slowly, bringing what is sacred to the surface, persevering gently, preserving the way. The way is to hold sacred. The way is to listen to all things good. From this place comes the essential, the tenderness, questions no one dares to ask. From this place comes wonder, inspiration, and be aware the straight path takes courage and the crooked path awaits. So every day I will pay attention. Every day I will break open the dark water. Every day I will honor what is beautiful and real in each human being. And every moment I will surrender the easy path because I am a disciple of the mysteries. I will surrender the easy path because I am a disciple of the mysteries. And so I think that, I really like the word disciple because it's also the root word of discipline. And discipline is something that we really need in order to have the kind of changes that we need to see today, that we need to be approaching in order to overcome the difficulties that we now face. And so there is the initial ability to recognize, oh, what is difficult? Where am I difficult? Where is the hardness within me? Where is the hardness within others? Where did that hardness come from? And how do we soften that? How do we get close to our own hearts? How do we seek and find the comfort that will take us where we need to go when we're actually supporting one another so that we can move through these hardships together and find a better way. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Have a beautiful week.